All right, so we have to pull off the paint for just a little bit. I got a guy who wants to come out and check out the Mazda 6. I think she shined up pretty good. What do y'all think? Not too bad. Everything works on it. I haven't come across anything that's not working properly. It's got a few little hail dents. We all know about those already. But she shined up great. We got her running good. She's not misfiring anymore. No more rough idle, any of that. No more big dent in the bumper or any of that. Something else we straightened out. The interior looks nice. Check it out. I'm gonna have to get some of my stuff out. Still got some my personal belongings in here. I need to get all these cleaned out. But man, check out that interior. I think that turned out pretty nice. Dash looks good. Check out the back here. Very nice. Far cry from where it was when it showed up. So anyway, the guy ought to be here in just a few minutes, and mask a 1995 for it, and we'll probably, I don't know, probably around 1800, I guess. I mean, it ought to be at least worth that. Running, driving a car with no issues. I mean, nothing's wrong with it. Tires are good. We had some tires put on it, and we ironed out all of its little hiccups, you know, and she's good to go now. I think it's a great car. Hey, let's check it out. While we're at it, let's see how many miles we put on this thing. All right, so there's the miles. That's what we ended up putting on it. I believe that to be close to 3,000 miles we put on this car so far. So, and she's still doing good. She starts up and runs fine. Fires right up. No issues. What more do you want, man? All the windows roll up and down. Hell, even the sunroof works. To be honest, I wish I could keep it. I mean, it's turned out to be a really good car. I've been running my errands in it for several weeks, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. She's fired up every time I've needed it to, and no breakdowns, nothing. So, great car. Alright, you guys, there goes the Mazda 6. She's out of here. Sold it. Got $1,800 for it. Not too bad of a flip. I'm actually gonna miss that old car, dude. That was a great car. But it went to a good home. My nephew actually bought that car, and I think it's gonna make him a great little car. It's his first car. So you'll probably see it on the channel again, because if he ever needs anything, he's more than welcome to bring it on down here and we'll help him out with it. So regular maintenance, things like that, you'll probably see it on the channel again. The best part is we'll be able to keep track of how many miles that old thing really can run. All right, everybody, so we just got the next flip. What do y'all think? I know, she is ugly. Oh my goodness, she needs a paint job in the worst way. But you guys, I got this thing super cheap, and it only has 115,000 miles. It is an 09 Chevy Aveo. The body's in great shape, but she's just ugly as hell. I mean, she's in desperate need of a paint job. I don't know what somebody's been doing, but some of this backyard body repair, I don't know. This is gray primer that someone has sprayed on here. And of course, primer's a sponge, so it's been soaking up water for who knows how long, and now it's got a little bit of surface rust in here. But not to fear, I think I could put a quickie paint job on this for cheap, and we'll get it done pretty quick, and we'll get this thing out for sale. And I can't wait to tell you guys how cheap I got this old car for. Remember, 115,000 miles, ice cold AC, everything works on it. It runs and drives perfectly. It just looks like hell. But that's okay. We're gonna get her straightened out. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing to the house, and we got a little ways to go. And like I said, so far so good. We'll get it down there, we'll go through it, we'll figure out exactly what it's gonna cost for materials, and we're gonna put a paint job on this thing. I wanted to show you guys the interior. I mean, it is in really good shape. No cracks on the dash, no rips in the seats. Doesn't even have any stains. Even the carpet looks good. The headliner is in good shape. I think we did all right on this one. Let's get it to the house. So we got a little ways to get back to the house. We're still up in the city, but so far so good. She's running great. No problem shifting. She's got plenty of get up and go. I mean, I can't complain so far. I just can't. Yeah, check it out, 115,000 miles. Not too bad for an 09. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but we do have what sounds to be kind of a wore out strut up front, so we probably have to get some struts in the front of it. Not a big deal. They're a little pricey at AutoZone. I don't think I'll be going that route. I think I'm gonna look up Rock Auto or something like that, see if we can't get some a little cheaper for it. But other than some noisy struts up front, which aren't even really that bad, I mean, they're not banging around, but you can kind of hear them. Other than that, man, I can't fault the car, other than it's ugly on the outside, but we're gonna straighten that out, man. We're gonna give it the weird beard treatment, so don't you worry. All right, so we're down here at the O'Reilly's getting our paint supplies. Got everything we need to get that paint job done, and we're sitting at pretty much 300 bucks right now. So let's go home and get it all done. All right, so we're back at the shop. Here's our supplies. This is the paint right here. These things were like 90 bucks a piece, so that's where most of our money went, was that right there. Then of course you got to get your reducers. Got some primer, sealer, cheap lacquer thinner, lint-free rags. Had to get a little bit of extra sandpaper, 80 grit. We got all the other ones already left over from other jobs. And right here, got me a little paint suit. So we're good to go. Let's get started on this thing. So this car is actually pretty straight. It's not all beat up or anything. It's just got this ugly primer sprayed over it. For some reason, somebody got in there and sprayed over the yellow. Maybe they didn't like the yellow. I don't really know. But this has got to go. We can't leave it like this. So basically, really, for the most part, all we're going to do is get in here and just sand this thing, scuff it down, get it ready, you know, mask it off, get it ready to shoot. With the exception of this other side, this over here, it's got a little rough area right here. I don't know what was going on, but it's all kind of peeling. We're going to need to feather all of this back. I'm going to get in here and I'm just going to smooth it all up with my block. You know, we'll get in here with probably like a little bit of Bodywork, nothing major. It's not really bad. It's just kind of wavy feeling. I'm going to straighten all this out right quick, get it ready for primer, and then we can move on from there. Because the rest will be pretty easy. We'll just sand and shoot the rest. All right, so I'm going to start with 80 grit sandpaper on my DA, and we're just going to sand this whole area. We'll get all of these rough imperfections, get it all nice and smoothed out. All right, so all I've done so far is I just took my 80 grit on my DA here, and I just went through and smoothed up all the primer because it was really rough. Some of it was kind of feathered, you know, just needed to be feathered back because it's kind of chipping away. Not really sure what was going on there, but I just wanted to get most of it off and get back down to the factory paint, because that's going to be the best foundation, is the factory paint, not this primer that they sprayed on. Now, I'm not really sure why, but on the other side, the primer actually looks fine. It's not all peeling and messed up, so I don't know if they just didn't prep the driver's side as good or what. There's no telling. So anyway, we're just getting it all smoothed up. I'm going to keep on working, and I'll probably have to come in right in here, some dents. So I'm going to probably come in with a little bit of filler and just kind of fill this in, block it down, and get it all ready for primer. And that's really all I'm shooting for right now. You probably noticed I've already went ahead and kind of de-trimmed the door a little bit. I'm still going to pull these handles out here in just a little while. For now, they're not in the way, but don't worry, I'll show you guys the process of, the teardown process when we get over to the other side. For now, I just kind of want to get this done, get it primed. That way in the morning I could come out, the primer will have set up, plenty of time to set up, overnight's more than enough time, and we come in and block it all down, and then we're ready to seal and shoot. After, once we finish prepping the car, we'll be able to seal it and shoot it. I think it's going to turn out pretty nice. All right, so this is our filler. I've already went through and just kind of wiped some filler on. I'll show you guys some of that here in just a minute, but I'm just going to come in. This is my 36 grit sandpaper on a block. We're going to come in and we're just going to block all of this down, make it nice and smooth. We'll do our crosshatch pattern like we always do when we do body work. Make it nice and straight. And we'll do that over the whole roof rail. Basically this whole roof rail is going to need that same attention all the way back here, same thing. So we'll do the whole thing like that and get it ready for primer. All right, so this is what it looks like after I've worked it with a 36 grit and a block. Now that it's nice and straight, I mean, we don't have any more whoop-de-woos or, you know, any waves, any of that kind of stuff. All the little dents are fixed. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go over this, I'm gonna wipe it with my glaze, which is gonna fill in all those 36 grit scratches, which are really deep scratches. That's gonna fill all of that in. We'll work it down to 150 grit, and this will be super smooth and ready for a primer. All right, so there it is with all of our glaze. I know it looks like a lot. You guys are probably thinking like, oh my God, you put a lot of filler in there, but man, like 75% of that gets sanded right back off. You're left with a very light skim coat. And the best part is it's nice and straight. No more sand and scratches, no more hail dings, no more imperfections. It'll be nice and straight, ready for paint. All right, everybody, so far so good. We've got all the body work done. We had a spot there on the fender. We got the entire roof rail worked down. Everything is blocked out. We've gone through and we've blocked down all of their primer, all the existing primer that was on the vehicle. We went through and we blocked down with 320 grit sandpaper, 320 grit sandpaper wet. So she is nice and slick now, ready for primer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to prime in this area here, because remember, we had to do some body work up here. It's a little bit rough. Everything else is nice and smooth. I think it'll be fine. So let's get some primer on this area here, and then I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna let that primer sit overnight. We'll come out here first thing in the morning. We'll block all of that down. So let's get that on there. All right, so we got it all masked off. Everything, it's all clean, ready to go, prepped, ready to go. So we're gonna mix up a little bit of primer here. Get this primed up. We'll let it dry overnight. Okay, so this is self-etch primer. This is what you want to put over all your little bare metal spots. Anything over 1 square inch needs to have self-etching primer on it. If you just put regular primer over bare metal, it will peel off later. So you want self-etch primer on your bare metal, then you put your regular primer on top of that. It don't take much. You just want to just put it on there really lightly. You're not trying to cake it on there or anything like that. It's just something to bite into that metal. All right, so it's all primed in. I'll come out here in the morning after it sits overnight and I'll sand all of this guide. This is a guide coat. What you do is you spray this on here, just dust a light black coat. You'll come out here after this primer's all dry, you'll block it off with 320 grit sandpaper. You'll block all that black powder off that I'm spraying on there basically. And when that's all gone, you got a nice gray uniform finish, you know it's ready to paint. Alrighty everybody, so we are past this part. Look at this, man, this is so friggin' smooth, so much better than it was. So now that we're past that little situation, we can move on. The rest of it is super easy, just a scuff and shoot. We got a little bit of surface rust up here, that's no problem. That's gonna get knocked right off with the sander. So we're gonna go over the whole thing with the sander. 320 grit sandpaper on my DA sandpaper. We're gonna go over the whole thing. That with some Scotch-Brite. And it'll be ready. At that point, it'll be ready. No more body work, no more block sanding, none of that. We just got to skim over it, knock the surface rust off, excuse me. And as you can see, the other side, it doesn't have any of the issues that the driver's side had. It's not dented up, none of the primer's peeling back, none of that. So the rest of it, like I said, will go quick and easy. So let's go ahead and just get it knocked out. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of all this loose masking. This is just some loose masking that we do to try to keep the primer and the overspray out of our jams. As you can see, the previous guy, he got a little bit in there, but it's so light, I should be able to wash that off with some lacquer thinner, but I definitely didn't want to add more to it because then you get to the point where you got to sand it off and you don't want to be messing with all that. You'll mess around and burn through the yellow and then you got to go back and paint the yellow, and we don't want to do that. So this will make it a lot easier. It takes a few minutes, but it's totally worth the effort. All right, so we're moving on to the roof. We're not getting super carried away. We're just going over it with a 320 grit sandpaper. Scuffing it up, that's it. I wanted to show you guys just how easy this surface rust is coming off. Comes off pretty easy. All right, that old roof is cleaning up nicely. Nice and smooth. All the surface rust is gone. We'll get over there and do the other side. Remember, that's what it used to look like, right? And then get over here and it's all nice and clean. And got a little bit of bare metal. We'll go through with our self-etch primer like we did on the sides. And then we'll hit the whole thing with a nice coat of sealer. Get a nice uniform finish, and then it'll be ready to paint. All right, so we're gonna start on the other side. We're gonna get in here, we're gonna remove that molding just like we did on the other side. Just wanna kinda get underneath it there, break it loose a little bit. You wanna be real careful, you don't wanna bend it. Just kinda work your way down. Some of these are stuck on with two-sided sticky tape, and then some of them clip on, and this particular one clips on. Very easy to take off. All right, so the roof smoothed up nicely. It really did. We got rid of all the rough primer that it had going on, smoothed up all the edges. This thing's ready for a nice coat of sealer. You could probably see some bodywork in there, and it's not good bodywork either. Whoever did all that, I think it had some hail dings they was probably trying to get rid of. They made it better. but it's not great. But with a nice good even coat of sealer on there and then a nice coat of paint, it'll look fine. Yellow is kind of forgiving, especially out in the sunlight. You won't see if it's got any little minor imperfection. It'll be fine. So we're moving on to the rest of it. We're going to smooth all the rest of this out. Again, we're using 320 grit sandpaper. I'll probably do most of the rest of this wet just to keep the dust down. Not a lot of work on this side. We should breeze right through it. So before we start the sanding process on the other side, let's get in here and tear these doors down. I promised you guys I'd show you some of the tear down process. So here we go, man. This one is super easy. You're just gonna get in here with a trim tool and barely pop that out. This is gonna come right off. I mean, it's not hard at all. There you go. Oh, good Lord. Came off so easy, it just jumped off the car. So anyway, there's that. When was the last time you guys saw window cranks? You don't come across that too often. Here's a special tool to get those off. You can also use a rag. I've heard of people like stuffing a rag in there and getting it real tight, and it'll kind of move the thing around and whatever. I don't know, but I use this. Hell, I can't even remember where I bought this thing. I've had it for so long. All you're gonna want to do is just kind of work this down in behind here. And it's really hard to do one-handed, and the little clip will probably go shooting off across the shop, so I'm gonna have to put the camera down, try to use both hands on this. All right, let's try this. You want to kind of hold your hand under here because that clip will shoot out of there for sure. There we go. Yeah, I got it. There's the clip. All that does is just push that clip out of there. Hopefully y'all can see that. All that does is just kind of push that clip out of there, and then this will come right off. Kind of wiggle it around, get this out of there. Kind of wiggle this around, I mean, it pops right off just like that. You'll want to reinstall your clip before putting this back on, and then once this is reinstalled, this will just click right onto the little deal here. Alrighty, before I so rudely interrupted, that air compressor just is not YouTube friendly. But anyway, and just try to slip it back into that little groove there and just get it, there you go, just like that. Once it's in there like that, I mean, that's it. That right there will pop right back on the door. All right, hopefully I could do this with one hand. Let's see. Nope, it took two, but oh well. There we go, that's what we were after right there. That just clips into the hole, comes out pretty easy. Just got to get your trim tool in behind it. Just be careful, you don't want to break anything, but as you can see, that turned out good and nothing broke off. Alright, so once you're to this point, there'll be a little Phillips screw down inside of there. Ours is missing, so somebody must have been in here messing around at one point. So anyway, we're good to go. There's a little spot under here you can get your trim tool into right there like that. Just want to kind of pull out on it. You'll hear all the clips coming loose. Once all the clips are loose all the way up both sides, it's going to slip right up off of there. Be careful, this is still sticking out. You want to pick it off. And just, it's that simple. And yeah, definitely somebody's been in there. That's electrical tape. Mirror comes off with these 3 screws here. Alright, so it's time to get the handle out. Don't let handles scare you. They're not that bad. This one comes out by just pulling a plug out of the jam. All you want to do is get this yellow clip to come unclipped. So I got my hook. I'm going to get in there. Just like that. Pull the rod out just like that. All we have to do at this point is get inside of that hole there. Alright, with a torque bit, unscrew it. This handle will pop right out. I'll show you that now. Alright, so we got a T30 torque. Let's get up in there. You'll see it. It's just inside of there. Unscrew this. You don't have to worry about screwing it out too far and having it fall down in the door, because it actually has a little catch that'll hold the bolt in place, or the screw in place. So now that that's out of the way, should be able to just pull the handle right out, just like that. This one will slide forward and out, just like that. You got it. Now most doors will have this little plastic piece here. It's kind of a gasket, I guess. You want to make sure you get that off of there as well. And then check it out, man. We could sand this with ease, no problem at all, nothing in the way. And that literally took a minute and a half. That's it. That's all it took to pull that handle out. Now, if you want the whole process of what do we have into the door so far to get it to this point, that's getting the door panel off, getting the mirror out, getting the handle, yeah, everything. 5 minutes. That's what we got into it. 5 minutes. This car is extremely easy to work on. Go ahead and get our belt molding off of here. It just has that screw on that one end. You want to be careful when you're doing this. This belt molding is good. The one on the other side kind of sucks, but this one's good, and I want to keep it that way. So you got to be really careful when you're taking these off of here. Just kind of work them down little by little till it pops off. Otherwise, you'll bend it. So we got lucky on this one, it didn't bend. We'll reinstall the screw on the end so we don't lose it. Throw it up on the dashboard until it's time to reinstall it. Alright, just like that, pop that out of its channel. Get it down there out of the way. And there you have it. One completely de-trimmed door. Everything's off of it, everything's out of the way. Probably took less than 10 minutes, and it will dramatically improve the quality of your paint job. I promise you that. Totally worth the extra effort. Unfortunately, we have to do that times 4 on this one, but it's still worth it, man. I mean, seriously. I can generally tear a door down faster than I could tape one off. By the time I tape around all of this crap on here, I could have tore it down already. So why not just tear it down? Alright, so I wet sanded the entire side. It is done, officially done. I do have a couple things that I need to take apart now. We've gone as far as we could go without pulling this tail light out and debadging and tearing down the entire trunk lid. So let's go ahead and get started on that now. This tail light is probably one of the easiest tail lights you could take out. You don't even have to pull the interior trim panel or anything. I mean, just 2 screws right there. You can use Phillips or you can use a 8mm socket, either way. But I'm just gonna pop these 2 screws out, and this tail light pops right out, no problem at all. Just like that. It's just got 2 little clips that go up in that little hole there. Hopefully y'all can see that. There's one there, one there, one there, one there, and it just pops in that. And then the 2 screws, and you're good. On this particular car, you're gonna pop this up, and there's the plug. Pretty easy. There you go, done. Alright, with the tail light out of the way, obviously we'll be able to get in here, sand around their edges a lot easier. And while we're at it, we could get in here, clean all this dirt. I mean, look at this. You don't want all that in your paint job, so this is a perfect opportunity to kind of get in there, clean some of that out. It'll help tape stick better later when it comes time to masking, and less dirt to blow into your paint job later. I think while I'm back here, I'm going to go ahead and just pull this bumper off, get it out of the way. These come off super easy. Alright, so Chevy was trying to be sneaky, throwing us an extra 2 bolts on the inside. That's alright, they're still easy to get to. Just don't drop them like I just did. Alright, now these are just located just inside the trunk and just behind this panel here. There's my bumper just dropped. I need that. Alright, these should be our last ones, just these 2 here on the outside. Actually, there's 4 of them. We'll get this bumper off of here and we'll finish prepping it on the stand. Make it a lot easier to paint too. There we go. Yeah, they actually hit a couple of clips up under the bumper up inside there. Kind of crazy. Alright, let's get this trunk lid tore apart. Start by getting this insulator off of here. Oh, all of them fun. This is how many screws they put into one little trunk molding. Look at this. That was just to hold that on. What is it? 8 screws. 8 screws to hold this on, y'all. Y'all say Toyota's made so great. Alright, so people ask me about this all the time. This is just a 3M eraser wheel. Stick it right in the end of your drill, and there you go, man. That's simple. Works really, really well getting that old adhesive off for trim panels, emblems, you name it. Works really well. They're about 20 bucks. Alright, let's get this front bumper off of here now. Alright, there we go. We're loose now. Alright, so there the car is completely tore down. This will make it a lot easier to paint it, and I think it'll turn out a lot better once it's done too. Alright, so you probably noticed it has a red hood and everything else is yellow. It's also got a red fender. Judging by the Carfax, it did get into a little fender bender back in, I think it was like 2010. No structural damage, no airbag deployment, nothing, just a slight little fender bender. And you can look in here and see that the structure is just fine, nothing's wrong with it. But I'm not going to sell it like that. I am going to go ahead and what we call edge the fender in. We're going to actually paint the fender yellow on the inside, and we're going to paint the bottom side of the hood as well. We're not going to send it out of here red. So I'm going to go ahead and take the hood off now, just get it knocked out, get it over with, reinstall the hood so that we can go ahead and paint the outside. All right, now that the hood's off, we're just going to scuff it down with some Scotch-Brite, get it ready to paint. I'm also going to tape up our little emissions emblem here. All right, so you might be asking yourself why we're painting the bottom of the hood black. Well, it's cheaper that way. If I were to paint the bottom of the hood yellow, it would cost more money. The yellow's a lot more expensive than just some satin black spray paint, you know what I mean? So this is actually acceptable. No one will think anything about it, I promise you. I've done this a million times. No one has ever showed up and asked me, why is the bottom of the hood black? No one ever cares. It's kind of weird. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get this fender out of the way. It's super easy, you guys. It's like 4 bolts. Comes right off. I mean, it's a baby fender. It's not even a real fender. So anyway, I got this off so that I could edge it in a lot easier. We're going to do this yellow because I want it to match the other fender. All right, we're not going to do it black like the hood. And man, by the way, that hood turned out pretty nice. So, all right, so there's the hood all put back together. Got the hood insulator in there. We got the tape back off, the masking off of our emissions emblem there. And I think it's ready to go back on the car. Tell me, what do you guys think, man? Having the bottom side of the hood, or hey, hang on just a minute. I'll put it on the car, then tell me what you think. All right, now tell me what y'all think. I think it looks pretty good, and I think it'll work. I don't see any problem with that at all. All right, so I got me a little color mixed up in the gun. We're gonna do what we call edging. This is how we would do it in the body shop. We're just gonna come in here and just paint the edges. All the inside edges. Let me turn my pressure up here a little bit. All right, so we had a little paint left in the gun. I figured out what could we use it for, and here we are, man. I thought this would be a good spot for it. This was the worst of it right here. As far as jams go, this was definitely the worst of it. He got a little sloppy in there, so let's cover it up. Okay, so I got my fender back on there. This thing is scuffed and ready to paint. All I got to do is get it outside, get it cleaned off. It's got a lot of dirt. Look at this, all this dust and stuff. That's all got to come off there. So we're going to rinse it off with the water hose right quick, get it back in here, let it dry, and I'm going to start masking it off. We're going to put a nice even coat of sealer, and then after that it'll be on to paint. Unfortunately, everybody, we're going to have to cut it off there. This video is getting way too long, but that's all right. Part 2, we will get this thing sprayed. Don't you guys worry. We'll get that video out real quick. We won't keep you waiting on it. And as usual, you guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Let YouTube know you guys like the videos, that you're enjoying the content. That lets YouTube know to suggest our videos. That helps the channel grow. The more the channel grows, the better videos we can put out, better content. It's a win-win for everybody, right? So please like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Check out my Instagram, link in the description as always. And hey man, I'll see you guys next time. We'll get back to you real quick. We won't leave you hanging for very long, I promise. So we'll see you later.